So the package for the Zethus, however you pronounce it, 210B showed up today. I thought it was a little interesting. The specs say that it's 65 pounds. And then when it shipped, I got a notification that it was 45. But after putting it on the shipping scale, packaged, it is 70 pounds, 6 ounces. So let's crack this thing open. As you can see, I need to clean some stuff up at the shop that we were using to test, and we'll get rolling. All right, so I have the box apart. I did take the phase plate off of the speaker. I was surprised when I saw the phase plates were in here. They weren't on the 3D expansion picture. They are plywood, routed. The box is built much better than I would have expected at this price point. The horn compression drivers are in their own chamber that is isolated from the 10s. The crossover is branded. I'll get a video of that. So I pulled the horn assembly out of here. Let me go to my steps. So we have 2 compression drivers in there, and they are actually on a wave guide, which is nice. It's actually really solid. The one thing I did notice that I want to check out is if you look how the diaphragms are mounted, compression drivers, yeah, you can see that they are off center here and the whole way to the other side here. It is kind of hard to see in here, but when I get the light right, I can see that part of the throat of the compression driver is obscured by part of the wave guide. So I am going to fix that. Hopefully it wasn't part of the engineering. But so far, really impressed. The box weighs in at 67 pounds. It is pretty heavy. I have our rigging hardware here. Feels really good. The pins are really nice as well. Definitely comparable to the HDL pins we have here on our RCF boxes. We can see that this is CNC'd out of the side. It is wood handle. It's CNC'd out with a metal plate inside. The one thing that concerned me online was when I saw the rigging for the back, it's hollowed out. And I thought, well, we're not gonna be able to ground stack that because it'll slide down. But that looks to be just some sort of weight relief. So the pin is up there. It does have a pin to keep it from rattling. The cutout here, this is also plywood. It's as thick as the regular body. I'll open it up here in the video as well. Leads me to believe that perhaps this was engineered to have some sort of plate amplifier added to it. I don't think they have an offering right now that fits this or a DSP to it, but it does kind of give me the impression that they are, or maybe this is just a big enough hole to access the diaphragms. I'm not sure, but great box. Build quality is awesome. All right, so I'm gonna take one of these compression drivers off since I need to realign them. These are what I call the Chinese blue compression drivers. I don't know that they're all made at the same factory, but I seem to see them in a lot of more cost-effective boxes, including these DB Technologies Opera 15s that we just got that we are also making a video of. Just there's plenty of videos I feel of high-end stuff, and while we are proud to have some stuff that meets riders, it's also nice to show what people can get a hold of in the consumer level price range and still get sound quality. Anyhow, I'm rambling. I keep thinking of the guy from Trinity Productions who does a lot of videos on here. I'm sure you've seen him, and he has this beautiful setup and he knows what he's saying. I'm just rambling on. Anyway, we'll take our compression driver off. We can see the throat here to our wave guide. We can also see that this was misaligned, so I am gonna try to get it on there. Ferrite magnet 8-ohm compression driver. So let me get these lined up. So I have the 10-inch driver pulled. Here you can get an idea of the chamber build. There's the metal handle, some washers to make up the gap space, the port 45 here to get the handle in. Sorry, you can hear compressor running in the background. Here's where the chamber for the crossover is, and what I'm assuming is the room for a plate amplifier. So here is our 10-inch woofer. Nice big dust cap, paper, rigid. The casting looks a little rough here, but the bottom is polished. No branding on the back, screen over the centerpiece. Traditional ferrite magnet. I'm gonna see if I can get Taylor's measure tape in here to see what these voice coil approximations are based on where the cone is meeting the spider. Looks to be approximately 2-inch voice coil. I know this isn't exactly a scientific way to do this, but hey, that's what we're doing. You know, I also have access to a ton of cameras and video switching gear, but here I am shooting this with my phone. So I'm gonna open the crossover next. Before I open the back up to show you the crossover area and get this reassembled, I do want to show you the baffle or the phase plug here. It is routed out of plywood. Speakers back in, horn assemblies back in. Like this wrinkled backdrop sheet that I found stuffed in a corner. Really classes up the video. All right, I'm gonna open up the cavity where the input plate and crossover are so we can get a look at that. Okay, so I have the cavity open now. Plywood routed out. We have some gaskets on here to stop vibrations. It is worth noting that everything in this cabinet is wood screws into wood. This has a couple advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, the advantage one being cuts down on manufacturing costs as opposed to having to properly align T-nuts and pre-drill everything. So it saves some time and manufacturing costs there. The other advantage being, well, at least you know you're not going to have any T-nuts rattling around in here. I don't mind screws going right into wood. As someone that takes boxes apart a lot, you just have to know your limits when putting them back in. People putting things back in with screw guns sometimes get a little aggressive and then strip the threadings out. I always suggest to people, when you take a box apart, use a screwdriver, use your hand. When I first got into this, I put a drill or screw gun through more woofers than I can count. Anyway, here's our plate to switch between passive and biamp here. We see a hardwire bypass. It is a surface mount going through a PCB regardless. Here's our crossover. I don't feel like taking it out, but here you can look at the component level. It is branded with their company name. So we see that they at least did design this crossover, or if it is an off-the-shelf component from whoever the OE manufacturer is, they at least had the foresight to brand it. You can also see here that the compression drivers are wired out of phase. You can also see that this compartment is isolated from the woofers, aside from maybe a little bit of air being able to bypass through here. That's no big deal. These guys are a DTC manufacturer, which means direct to consumer. So I have no vested interest in this other than answering some questions that I had myself, and I see that other people online had. Again, my shop's a mess. So here's the assembled front end. I will run a little bit of analysis with an RTA. I don't feel like setting up my smart rig. And since us sound guys are known to just argue semantics anyway, I don't think it's really worth it. And here is the grill. Has a nice liner to it, foam liner. Feels like it might have a little bit of water resistance to it. The grill is punched out really nicely. Yeah, we're pretty smart in the sense of CNCing their logo out of this. And honestly, I'm sure they did it for a myriad of reasons. But one thing I think is pretty smart is this box is such a great value for what it costs. And I could see people taking these, popping this logo off, and trying to pass these as OE or just hide it in general. But this kind of prevents that. So if nothing else, Soundtown's going to get some recognition. So let me grab an iPad, a pink noise generator, and show you guys where we're at. That pink noise was generated with my Pro Tools rig coming out of a SSL A to D converter and D to A at 103.1 decibels A weighted. I don't know why it was that volume specifically. I'm sure there's some standardized test point that people are going to want to hear. That's just where I turned it up to. I threw a decibel meter on it to make sure. I did that at 1 meter or approximately 3.3 feet in freedom units. Again, I'm not going to pull the smart rig out right now. This isn't a product that I'm trying to sell or make money off of. So as selfish as that sounds, I'm confident enough in this that I would feel good doing a hang of these. We are a dealer for over 40 major brands, authorized dealer. A lot of those brands are sitting on a boat. And since we recently sold a bunch of our in-house RCF boxes to meet the demands a customer had for us, and I don't know when we will be able to replace them with the current situation with things sitting on boats and things being oversold, manufacturing not catch up. I would honestly feel comfortable for a lot of the festivals and outdoor shows we do to hang 8 or 10 of these. In fact, I might just reach out to Soundtown and get hangs and see what they're like. I can review the fly bar. The one thing I know that they told me about the fly bar is that it does not do ground stacking. I'm assuming because it is lacking this upright pin from it, but I don't know. I'll order the ground bar, see if we can fabricate one of those ourselves. I do feel that the market this is most advertised at would probably be doing a lot of ground stacking. It seems to be more frequent than flying, which is fine. As a certified rigger, I'm okay that not everyone is trying to fly things. I can say also that reaching out to Soundtown with questions about these boxes and the request to get a hold of one, they respond super quickly. They are incredibly courteous. They answered all my questions, even ones that sounded a little bizarre. So if the response is any indication of their follow-up with customers and consumers, even just based on upfront questions, I'm pretty impressed. Hopefully their follow-up would be just as good if you had warranty claims or needed parts. I'm pretty impressed with this. I'd play music through it, but two things. We would run into a copyright issue, or I would play non-copyright music that none of you know, include myself included. And the other issue is, you do that and it's great, but I'm using an iPhone. So no matter what I play through here is going to sound like my iPhone microphone, this room that I'm super used to, but you might not be. There'd be artifacts thrown in there, and I don't think it would be accurate. I mean, I'll do it if you want. Let me know if there's any questions or anything you want answered in the comments, and I'll do my best to do it. I'm going to go ahead and reach out to these guys and see if I can order more. Again, I did not get this for free. I'm not being compensated. I would have to say, as a professional audio engineer, that I feel pretty good about this box. Is it going to compete with anything from the Vertex series? or anything else that we're using. It really depends what you're talking about. Is it going to achieve coverage, SPL, and a quality sound that'll be fine for festivals, some things you might be doing indoors and outdoors, properly amplified and processed? Absolutely. Is it going to meet riders and fill a stadium? Probably not, but I don't think that's what the goal of this box is. I feel confident with the build quality and the sound I was able to achieve out here that I would definitely do shows with this. I would feel good handing this off to people in my own crew and traveling to press this box. I did have this box cranked up in this space. I was able to achieve well over 100 decibels without it straining or sounding like it's self-compressing. The amplifier I'm using to power this right now is a QSC PL236. No other reason than that is the only amplifier we have here at the shop that's not in an amp rack, and I was trying to do this quickly. I wanted an analog amplifier, no DSP in line, nothing to affect the sound. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll get some more. When I get the fly bar, I'll show that. And yeah, Hershey AV. You can find us online at hershey.solutions. You can find us on Facebook,